Mark.
Okay. All right. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you all for joining us this evening for this regular City Council meeting. Kay, could you call the roll, please?
Dennis.
Here.
Harold.
Here.
Hollenbaugh.
Here.
Odoricio.
Here.
Phipps.
Here.
Robinette.
Here.
Rabando.
Here.
All right. The minutes from our meeting on May 2nd were distributed for your perusal prior to this evening. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move. Second.
All right, properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Correspondence. Do we have any correspondence, Kay?
Yes, I have a couple of things this evening. Distributed to you prior to the meeting was the financial budget summary report for the month of April 2022, just noting that for the record. And then I also have some appointments and reappointments to city boards and commissions as requested by Mayor Osbacher. And I'll read that list, even though it's kind of lengthy, and then we'll have one motion. New appointments: Bicycle Safety Commission, Maria Signorino; BG Housing Agency, Dan Murphy; Historic Preservation, Jeff Howes; Human Relations, Adam Scaff; Human Relations, Chris Douglas; Human Relations, Ellie Boyle; Parks and Recreation, Artie Gagner; Parks and Recreation, Caitlin Elliott; Traffic Commission, Lindsay Durham; Traffic Commission, Tim Emmerich; Tree Commission, Ann Bullerjohn; Zoning Board of Appeals, Rod Noble; and Zoning Board of Appeals, Jay Sockman. And the following are reappointments. Bicycle Safety, we have Kirby Bucks, Andrew McDermott, Kristen Otley, and Claudia Seamer. And BG Housing, Karen Seeliger and Shannon Fisher. Historic Preservation, Will Radabush and John Sampin. Human Relations, Tyler Thompson. Income Tax is a council appointment of Randy Roberts. Planning Commission, Judy Ennis and Joe Phillips. Traffic Commission, Douglas Cubberly. Tree Commission, Tom Strigo. Zoning Board of Appeals, Matthew Bostorff.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept these appointments?
So moved. Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. All in favor of the appointments, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, this is quite a lengthy list, and thank you to all of these individuals for their willingness to make our town a much better place.
That's all I
Anything else?
have.
Okay. Special recognitions. I kind of have a feeling what this might be about.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, City Council. Our transition in the fire division continues. As you can remember, we've been in front of you previous times already this year, announcing promotions and administering the oath of office to those who have been promoted to leadership positions within the division. So we're here again this evening to present Ben Jarrett as a position of lieutenant in our fire division. So at this point, I'd like to ask Chief, Deputy Chief, Ben and your family to come up front while we administer the oath of office. And Lori Treader, our safety director, too, please. Fire and peril. Faithfully discharge the duties
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Do you want to sign? And then you can leave it with me if you want to. There. Thank you. Congratulations.
Ben, can you please come back up here? You're not getting away that easy. I just want to talk a little bit about Ben. Ben is one of those individuals that the very first day you meet him, you just love the guy. I mean, he has been one of the hardest workers at Bowling Green. Ben will do anything at any time for you. There is no task that is too big for Ben to take on. He's assisted in so many ways at making Bowling Green Fire a lot better place. But one thing that I always mention when we do these promotions and when we introduce our new firefighters, it's not Ben, just Ben that's made him great. You have to have a very strong family when you become a firefighter. There's many days that you'll miss out on birthdays, you'll miss out on Christmases. The family has to be very strong and very supportive of everything that you've done. And Ben, you have a wonderful family. So once again, Ben, congratulations. You deserve this. You've worked extremely hard to get this promotion. So make us proud.
So now we begin to be able to build the foundation for the future of the Bowling Green Fire Division. I'm proud this evening to administer the oath of office to our new hirees in the Fire Division, Isaiah Miller, Meg Riley, and Benjamin Sharp are here this evening. I'd like to ask these young men, young being the really key here, and their families to, if they would, assemble at the front along with the chiefs and Lori while we administer the oath of office. I know it's not a lot of room.
We only had a new building.
Ready to go? Please raise your right hand. I state your name. I solemnly swear my duty as a firefighter to the best of my ability. Will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Ohio, laws and ordinances of the City of Bowling Green. I will protect, safeguard, and preserve life, guard health and property, fire and other perils. Fire. Faithfully discharge. Faithfully discharge. Position.
I'd like to have the honour here of posting their badges. These are our new firefighters. They've been on probation for 1 year. Recently they passed that probation with flying colours. As the mayor mentioned before, this is the future of bowling. This right here, from the very first day that these three young men came into Bowling Green Fire, you could see that they had a passion for fire. So everything that we've asked you to do, you've done it. You deserve the opportunity to become a Bowling Green firefighter. I know you're going to make us proud. I can't say enough good things about you. Like I said before to Ben, family really is family. I hate to say it, but you will miss some birthdays, you will miss some of the holidays, but they're here doing what they love, serving and taking. Thank you again. And
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations. You want to sign?
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. You're welcome.
Congratulations. I can date it. Good. Thank you very much. Mhm. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, outstanding. Okay, that brings us to lobby visitations.
The first person we have is Mary Dennis.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mary Dennis. I'm a resident at 161 Eberly Avenue here in Bowling Green. And I do have one copy of my remarks that I'm going to read. I'm sorry I didn't have enough
Could you
copies.
speak into the microphone a little
Sorry, I
bit?
didn't have enough copies for everyone. I'm a little soft-spoken, so I'll try to speak up. First, I'm here to thank all of you, City Council, and especially Jeff Dennis and Rachel Phipps for the help and guidance that you've given us, and Lori Treader and the other safety services directors that we've met with in our planning for Porch Fest. I want to sincerely also thank all of the sponsors who have contributed both funding and in-kind services in an effort to make Porch Fest successful. We have approximately 20 businesses and individuals who have provided this support because they believe in the value and the benefits of Porch Fest to our community. Our continuing goal is to bring an afternoon of community, friendship, and joy to our neighborhood and the surrounding city of Bowling Green. It's an opportunity for families and friends to come together and through the common enjoyment of excellent local music, foster friendship and community spirit. Porch Fest originated in Ithaca, New York in 2007 with musicians sharing their music on neighborhood porches in support of local music and to bring their neighbors together as a community. Today, Porch Fests are held in many cities across the US and Canada. The basic idea is that local musicians volunteer to perform on porches in neighborhoods as their neighbors and community members move about the neighborhood to listen. It's a very distinct and special, one of the distinct and special aspects of Porch Fest is that they are held in private homes, in neighborhoods, and are very informal. People are free to roam from porch to porch and engage in conversations in a more fluid social environment than what is usually encountered in a traditional concert venue. So unlike a concert, at a concert hall or even a single outdoor venue, this homey type atmosphere encourages people to interact, renewing friendships and creating new ones. Meeting neighbors for the first time or reinforcing existing relationships with neighbors. And many people walk or ride their bikes, bringing their children in strollers, et cetera, to enjoy an opportunity to see old friends, make new friends. This is the sort of activity that gets people out on a summer day to foster community relationships. So Porch Fest is a peaceful gathering of friends, families, and neighbors, old and young, for a few short hours on a summer afternoon. It provides an opportunity to foster strong, positive relationships that serve to strengthen a community. It's a unique opportunity to foster positive relationships among neighbors that can result in safer, more cohesive neighborhoods. It's an opportunity for neighbors to develop relationships that can be beneficial to one another. For example, helping one another in a time of need. Getting to know your neighbors allows you to become more aware of what's going on in the neighborhood, and so that we can notice if something looks amiss or out of the ordinary and maybe help if needed. The Porch Fest planners, who I'm representing through these remarks, we want all of you and our community to know that we've reached out many times in different ways, such as in person, by email and handwritten notes to residents in the Eberly Avenue and Goral Street neighborhood in an effort to answer questions, address concerns, and invite them to participate in the planning. This began prior to last year's planning and for last year's Porch Fest, and also resumed when we began in earnest for this year's Porch Fest in January. We did meet with a few concerned residents a couple of months ago and understood at that time that we were adequately addressing their concerns. We invited everyone in the neighborhood who would like to do so to participate in planning meetings, and we've welcomed everyone's comments and suggestions. We met with city administrators and public service leaders, and based on their suggestions, we have adopted sound plans for addressing their concerns. Concerns that we have addressed are things such as litter, access to bathrooms, parking, etc. And we address these by obtaining adequate trash and recycle containers that will be placed throughout the neighborhood on the day of Porch Fest, and arranging for volunteers to walk through the neighborhood to pick up any litter during and after Porch Fest. We've arranged for adequate parking by contacting several nearby businesses and entities to gain permission to use their parking lots. We plan to place safety cones and other notices to prevent parking near fire hydrants and any other locations that need similar type protection. In addition to Arlen's Good Beer, we have arranged for at least 4 homes in the neighborhood that will be designated as sites with a bathroom available for public use. These will be marked on the programs and maps that will be distributed to all attendees. We've also recruited volunteers who will walk throughout the neighborhood, answering questions, directing people to the porch venues, the public bathroom homes, and directing them to stay only on public walkways and on participant properties. We've offered to concerned neighbors to place yellow caution tape or cones on their property if they wish, to indicate it as a non-participating property. And we've made plans to station volunteers in appropriate locations to help prevent anyone from walking in non-participating yards. Despite the hot temperature, last year's Porch Fest was quiet, peaceful, and pleasant. The minor problems that we were made aware of have been addressed in our plans for this year. Many people have told us that they found Porch Fest very enjoyable and hope that we would hold it again. We are striving diligently and persistently to ensure that not only is this year's Porch Fest at least equally as enjoyable as last year's, but that it also has few, if any, problems. There's no evidence that suggests that that can't not be so. We have a great respect for our neighbors and all the residents of Bowling Green, and we hope that many of you will come to participate and help us to create an afternoon of friendship and community spirit through the enjoyment of excellent local music with us on June 4th. And so once again, just want to thank all of you, all of the Porch Fest sponsors and volunteers for helping us to make this a safe family community gathering. So thank you very much. I will leave a copy. I'm sorry I don't have more copies, but my printer broke.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Emily Dunapace.
Hi, my name is Emily Dunapace. I live at 415 West Worcester Street here in Bowling Green. Good evening, Mayor Osbacher, President Hollenbaum, members of City Council. I'm here this evening as a citizen who's deeply concerned about the current status of Arlen's Good Beer. We are entering the 3rd summer that Arlen's Good Beer has operated in violation of their M1 zoning laws. The facts are clear. Arlen's Good Beer operates as a bar. AGB, if you don't mind, I can use the initials. AGB is not a brewery with a tasting room as originally approved and as allowed in the city of BG zoning codes. In addition to being a bar, this business offers food vendors, outdoor seating, and an outdoor concert venue with live music, all in a residential neighborhood. AGB is a bar, and that is not permitted in the M1 zoning codes. In all of my communication with city officials over the past 3 years regarding Arlen's Good Beer, all that I have ever asked and wanted and hoped for is that my mayor and my city administration and my elected officials would act ethically and with honesty, transparency, and integrity and enforce the current laws. Instead, AGB is allowed and enabled to operate in violation of the M1 zoning codes. I repeat, AGB is a bar, and that is not permitted. Furthermore, to my knowledge, they have not even been required to request a zoning variance like would be required of other businesses. And this is really truly what hurts my heart the most, that my mayor, my city administration, and my elected officials have chosen not to enforce the laws equally, a responsibility that is required of your jobs and that you were sworn to do. Since I returned to live in Bowling Green in 2012, I have heard people say that the city of Bowling Green looks the other way. implying that preferential treatment occurs and possibly even hidden agendas. I never wanted to believe that. I certainly had personally never experienced it myself or witnessed it. Now, I am experiencing firsthand an example of the city of BG looking the other way. Arlen's Good Beer, this business, this owner, these investors in this neighborhood have for the past 3 years been allowed to operate in violation of the law. They have been afforded legal exceptions and exemptions, and they have been given preferential treatment, while the city of BG seemingly looks the other way. I am certain that any other business, or any citizen for that matter, violating zoning laws or any other law would be cited or shut down. Are there any other businesses in BG that have been given this level of preferential treatment? If not, how do you explain the level of preferential treatment given to AGB to all of the other businesses who have followed the rules and the laws as they have been required to do? I have had multiple conversations with people who have been patrons at AGB or attended events at AGB, and they are shocked and troubled, even incredulous to learn that AGB operates in violation of the zoning laws. But of course, AGB doesn't offer this information to their patrons. But these are law-abiding citizens who feel the same way I do about the importance of enforcing our laws. I'm here this evening as a citizen of BG who has the utmost respect for each one of you and your roles in our city government, as well as my mayor and the city administration. I'm asking you to enforce the laws equally and equitably, as you were elected to do, as you were sworn to do. And I'm asking you to act ethically, with integrity, transparency, and honesty. And please, regarding Arlen's Good Beer, do not look the other way.
All right, thank you. I mean, the only thing I can say to that is that in all of my time being involved with city government, I have not behaved unethically. I have not witnessed anyone else behaving unethically. I know that this is an issue that has been looked into and is being looked into. No one receives preferential treatment by the city, whether a business or otherwise. So at least that has been my observation. But thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
Brian Kraft.
Brian Kraft, 155 South Maple. To say the least, this is not something I want to do on my last council meeting with the city of Bowling Green. But I echo everything that Emily said. My house is right across the street, basically, from Mrs. Parker's house at 158. She is in the ground zero where all the music comes straight across to the west. I did not plan on coming back after this meeting, so that's why I'm going to do it tonight. While I'm here, I need to approach City Council for help from my neighborhood to save it. The timing is urgent. As I understand, you have a zoning code update meeting on June 1. The issue is Arlen's Good Beer operating as a bar on Hankey in violation of the zoning and noise pollution codes. This is disrupting the peace and tranquility of residential properties, which is protected under city ordinance. I just want the law enforced. So tonight I speak to you right now as a citizen, not a department head. I've tried hard not to have to come to council, but I have a right, like everyone else, to speak to you without fear of repercussions. During the third year, I think I and others have been patient enough. An attorney I spoke to recently stated, how has been being silent about the law not being enforced by the city work for you? So the strategy needs to change. We need to inform the public and media about what is going on. We have not received an invitation or flyer from the city telling us our neighborhood is in for major changes to zoning law. Why not? Porch parties are also a trend in my neighborhood where some people can enlighten us about the different kinds of music, whether we want to hear it or not. My guess is other neighborhoods' HOA rules would not allow it, so their rules have more clout than our laws. Letters my neighbor and I have received from Arlen say, don't call the police or city administration regarding the loud music. Why is that? And their patrons have had, after they've had enough food, music, and drinks, they can leave. Our neighborhood gets to keep listening to the perpetual music for 3 hours, at least 3 days a week. That's 84 evenings from April to October. Last council meeting, the city rightfully discussed being a leader in renewable energy, while at the same time forcing some citizens to close their windows due to the noise nuisance, making us prisoners in our own home, running the air conditioner because we can't get fresh air. The music is not a necessity to brew or for brewing, or sell or tasting beer, any more than Kroger's or Campus Paradise having outdoor music while selling groceries and breadsticks. No one would think they should be allowed, right? The city noise pollution language in 132.13 noise control says noise pollution is the presence of that amount of acoustic energy for that period of time necessary to cause a nuisance. I think we've established that it's a nuisance. To interfere with domestic tranquility, that is the comfortable enjoyment of life and property or the conduct of business. Arlen's has approved zoning for M1 light industrial under city section 150.35 in part E, prohibited uses. No bars, taverns, dance halls, rental halls, bowling alleys, or similar recreational activities shall be permitted in M1 light industrial zone. But a question has to be asked, why is this law not being enforced at this location? What is going on? To echo Emily's comments. The city website's full of laws and ordinances dealing with city operations. The Good Neighbor Guide, for example, says, be considerate of your neighbors. Is this just meant for the college kids on the east side of town? Please do not restructure any of the neighborhood zoning codes to skew it into your favor in the updated zoning code plan. We will be watching. Do the right thing and follow the oath, just like I heard a lot of those tonight, that you took to represent all citizens. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Kraft, before you leave, what was the first section of the code you cited before the M1 definition?
132.13 noise control.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Okay,
David Wilson.
Hi, I'm Dave Wilson at 208 Eberly Avenue. I didn't have a script tonight, just hopefully short and sweet, regarding similar to Emily and Mr. Kraft's comments, but also with regard to Porch Fest, as I'd mentioned last meeting. Not all the neighbors have been included in on all the planning and or have been taken seriously for our concerns for putting this on. Obviously, this is the second event, but it appears based on the way it looks like it's structured, looks like it's something that goes on and will continue. And it's quite commercialized. It's just not a neighborhood thing. It's on the internet. It's out there for anyone to come from wherever. And like I say, there are a number of concerned citizens and neighbors in the neighborhood that are less comfortable coming up and speaking, but are uncomfortable with what is going on and just continually going. I work a lot of time in and out of state. I deal with drama all the time. When I come home, I like to come home. I don't want to have to entertain people type thing in the neighborhood. I'll support any event, any activity, any group that wants to do stuff. I've started 3 new companies this year, even at my age. I'm understanding how to progress and move forward, but in the right structure and the right venue. A lot of things that are said are not quite true. It's kind of like Abe Lincoln said, be careful of half truths. You may have gotten the wrong half. And parking, that's a number of parking lots are not open. They are definitely, I've got the written letter that you got last time. There's no permission and not allowed to park in the one parking lot for sure. So how are we going to handle parking? And people are just supposed to be in the public right of way and the streets aren't shut down. I've talked to the chief of police. I've talked to Lieutenant Mancuso, expressed my concerns, trying to be safe, but also like to protect the quietness and the privacy we have of our neighborhood. Thank you for your time. Definitely, please take this seriously. Chief of police is, and obviously, if things were to continue, I have to be back from out of state to be around just to make sure things are under control if this thing is allowed to continue where it's supposed to be planned as of right now. But not everyone's on board with this. Okay.
thank you very much. Okay,
That's all we have.
All righty. That brings us to the introduction of new legislation.
That's me.
Mr. President,
Ms. Phipps.
from the Planning, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee, I have an ordinance authorizing the placement of the Police Division building on West Wooster Street and the Needle Hall building located in City Park on the local historic register as suggested by the Historic Preservation Commission.
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold.
from Transportation and Safety Committee, I have ordinance authorizing the Public Services Director to sign an LPA agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation and to seek qualifications, advertise for bids, and enter into a contract or contracts for design, engineering, right-of-way acquisition, construction, and other services related to the construction of a multi-use path along Brim Road and adjacent vicinity.
Mr. President,
Mr. O'Dorisio.
from Community Improvement, I have a resolution authorizing a partnership agreement between the City of Bowling Green and Wood County, Ohio, regarding program year 2022 Community Housing Impact and Preservation CHIP funds from the Ohio Department of Development, ODOD, and authorizing the mayor of the City of Bowling Green to execute said partnership agreement. Mr. President,
Mr. O'Dorisio.
I have an additional resolution from Community Improvement. A resolution adopting and authorizing an amended Community Development Block Grant Housing Policy and Procedures Manual.
Okay. Thank you very much. That brings us to official reports. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, City Council. Earlier this evening, we talked about transition in the fire department. As many of you are aware, we're also experiencing transition in our Public Works Department. Brian Kraft is retiring after serving the city for 31 years. Is that correct, Brian? So first of all, I want to say, Brian, thank you. Thank you for the good work that you did. The work that Brian did and his contributions to this community are evident every day as we drive around Bowling Green and we see the condition of our sidewalks and our streets, and we see the well-grown and maintained grass and city properties. So I just want to again say publicly to Brian, thank you, and I wish you well in your retirement. Your wife Leslie is here tonight, and I hope that you enjoy your retirement, and I hope that you will accept my gratitude for the work that you've done in your career for the city of Bowling Green. Thank you. 31 years is a long time. Now, I'm also eager this evening to announce to you Brian's replacement, Mick Murray. Mick, would you please stand? Actually, come on up here, Mick. Let everybody see you. Mick Murray. I'm appointing Mick Murray to be the next Public Works Director for the City of Bowling Green. Mick has worked for the city for 21 years. Is that correct? Various positions in our utilities division. And I have no doubt that Mick has the vision and the leadership capability to continue the good works that has been taking place in Bowling Green. And I'm really proud to tonight announce the appointment of Mick to be the next Public Works Director. Mick's a local kid, attended Bowling Green High School, graduated from Bowling Green High School, and now he's ready to contribute to his community as the Director of Public Works. So I'm hoping that you will all wish me or join me in wishing Mick good luck and expressing our faith and confidence in his ability for this new position. Mick, thank you. That concludes my report, subject to any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions for the mayor this evening?
Thank you.
Thank you. Municipal Administrator, Ms. Treader.
Good evening. I also want to add my thanks to Brian for the many years of work. Brian and I have worked together for many, many years, 25 years. He's been here longer than me, but not by too many. And I also want to point out, in addition to the items that the mayor mentioned, how critical Brian has been to securing funding for the city of Bowling Green, and how crucial that voice has been and how transformative it has been to the city of Bowling Green. We are talking about millions of dollars in matching money, usually on the other side, it being the larger part of it. And we've seen major projects over the years, Wooster Street, North Main Street, downtown paving. And then we have projects secured into the future that will be part of your legacy here, Brian, at the city of Bowling Green. And so we're very grateful, and that really has changed our community. Getting those corridors secured, the funding would not be possible without that federal money and state money that he's been able to secure. He's represented us in the region very well. So thank you, Brian, and we wish you very well in your retirement. One update is that Memorial Day is coming quickly, and the Memorial Day Parade will be returning to downtown Bowling Green. Actually, it goes through the community. So that steps off from the post office at 9:45 on Memorial Day. And there will be various street closures and parking restrictions associated with it as the parade heads to Oak Grove Cemetery. And then there is a ceremony at Oak Grove Cemetery. And the mayor has promised that the weather will be like today's weather. Okay, thanks. All right, and that completes my report tonight, subject to your questions.
Are there any questions for Ms. Treader this evening? I have one thing. There have been a number of citizens that have approached us this evening during lobby visitation, discussing primarily two issues, the Porch Fest and the music at Arlen's. And just to make sure all council members understand the process that's going on and what the administration has done, could you maybe type up some kind of update for us so that everybody knows what the situation is? And
Sure, be glad to.
thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, City Attorney, Mr. Marsh. Are there any questions for Mr. Marsh this evening? Public Services Director, Mr. Fawcett.
Good evening. I'll echo the first two speakers in thanking Brian for everything he's done for the community. And, personally, I've learned a lot from you, so I appreciate that. And Mick, good luck. The drinking from the fire hose officially begins in a few weeks, so I think he's up for the challenge, though. I wanted to highlight for you Ordinance 9009, which is on your agenda this evening. And that is the legislation for the LPA agreement with ODOT for the side use path from the community center to the high school. As mentioned in the letter, this project helps to move our efforts with Complete Streets forward in a very big way, I think. And it accomplishes a couple of council goals that have been previously stated. One thing I failed to mention in the letter is at the southeast corner of Brim and Bishop is a substation project that the utilities department is undertaking at the moment. As part of that is a side use path along their corner, which will connect into Cogan's Crossing. So the 10-foot path that this legislation will help us put in connects the community center, the high school, Cogan's Crossing, and then there's a little spur that connects into North Christopher Drive. As mentioned in the letter, it builds the infrastructure that's been outlined in a few of the regional planning documents, which is a huge plus, I think. And it's a 90-10 split for the funding, with the city's local share being roughly 10% or $150,000. I'm hopeful as council continues to consider the use of ARPA funds that this project may be in that consideration. And then I would be remiss if I didn't thank Brad Holman, our city engineer, who gathered all the necessary material and made the application to ODOT, which obviously was ultimately successful. That completes my report, pending your questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Fawcett this evening?
I don't have any questions. I just want this has been on tremendous win.
Yep.
Turning the community center something other than an island. Fantastic.
as Lori kind of mentioned, some of Brian's lasting legacies. I know he's been working on this for quite some time, so this is another one of those projects. So I think from the city standpoint, from the administration standpoint, we're certainly looking forward to it.
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold.
I want to echo what Greg said. I view this whole process as a great example of the way local government is supposed to work. We as a council put a priority in our strategic planning. First of all, we had strategic planning session, that's good. And had the multi-use path to the community center. And then later added to that Cogan's Crossing. So council did, as the mayor likes to refer to, the 30,000 foot level. And then very capable staff, engineering, public works, yourself, got together, and I should say, Brian with utilities as well, to come up with the plan and a way to pay for it. So this, to me, if anyone wants to have a sterling example of the way the city works, this would be included in that list. So thank you and Brian and Brad and the administration and council for doing the part to get this going.
Thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Fawcett? All right, thank you very much. Public Infrastructure Director, Mr. O'Connell.
Well, I'll recap the same comments. I mean, Brian and I worked together for quite a while, and when I first came here, he was here. He worked under me, and then he worked over me, so we shared those roles, across those roles there. So I appreciate your work, Brian. Thanks for all your service, and best of wishes in retirement for you and your family. On the substation project, to continue that as well, that project is looking to energize the substation at the end of this month. And so while the functionality of it should be operational, there's still a lot of work yet to be done, getting the site work completed, getting the grass planted, getting the trail completed around the boundary of the property, at least the brim and the Bishop Road frontages. So there's still work to be done, but they're moving forward and pushing ahead to try to get that finished by the end of this month, electrically speaking. And that's all I have unless you have questions for me.
Any questions for Mr. O'Connell this evening? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to council committee reports. I'll start off by saying that we had a committee of the whole meeting on Thursday, at which time members of the community were able to approach us with their ideas and supporting information for possible uses of the remaining ARPA dollars that the city has. I felt that meeting was very constructive, and the information that we received from that meeting, along with, I know since then I've had 2 people ask me for the email address so that they could submit ideas. So once we get to the end of the month, which is the cutoff date for taking information from people, we'll begin to move forward on that. And then also there was a committee of the whole meeting tonight before this meeting where we received the exterior housing survey from the Wood County Health Department. Anyone else have any other committee reports? Okay. Brings us to the reading of legislation. Kay?
Legislation for first reading, Resolution number 3823 for first reading, resolution authorizing a partnership agreement between the City of Bowling Green and Wood County, Ohio regarding program year 2022 Community Housing Impact and Preservation Funds from the Ohio Department of Development and authorizing the mayor of the City of Bowling Green to execute said partnership agreement.
Mr. President,
Mr. O'Dorisio.
I move to suspend the rules and give Ordinance 3823 its second and third reading.
I second the motion to suspend the rules and give Resolution 3823 its second and third reading.
Properly moved and seconded. Kay?
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Odericio,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Rabando,
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Okay, so the rules are suspended for Resolution 3823.
Resolution number 3823 for second and third reading, resolution authorizing a partnership agreement between the City of Bowling Green and Wood County, Ohio regarding program year 2022 Community Housing Impact and Preservation Funds from the Ohio Department of Development and authorizing the mayor of the City of Bowling Green to execute said partnership agreement.
Mr. President,
Mr. Odericio.
I move to adopt Resolution 3823.
Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Okay,
Hollenbaugh,
yes.
Odericio,
Yes.
Phipps.
Yes.
Robinette.
Yes.
Rabando.
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Harold.
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 3823 is adopted.
Resolution number 3824 for first reading, ordinance adopting and authorizing an amended Community Development Block Grant Housing Policy and Procedures Manual. Ordinance number 9009 for first reading, ordinance authorizing the Public Services Director to sign an LPA agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation and to seek qualifications, advertise for bids, and enter into a contract or contracts for design, engineering, right-of-way acquisition, construction, and other services relating to the construction of a multi-use path along Brim Road and adjacent vicinity. Ordinance number 9010 for first reading, ordinance authorizing the placement of the Police Division building on West Wooster Street and the Needle Hall building located in City Park on the local historic register as suggested by the Historic Preservation Commission.
Mr. President,
Ms. Phipps.
we need to set a public hearing on ordinance 9010. I suggest June 20th at 6:30.
Does that work, Kay?
Yes.
All righty.
There is no legislation for second reading, so we'll move on to legislation for third reading. Resolution number 3821 for third reading, resolution authorizing the mayor of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio to file an application and enter into agreement with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for the purpose of acquiring financial assistance from the NatureWorks program.
Mr. President,
Mr. Rabando.
I move to adopt Resolution 3821.
Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Kay?
Odericio,
Yes.
Phipps.
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Rabando,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh.
Yes. Resolution 3821 is adopted.
Ordinance number 9004 for third reading, ordinance authorizing the Utilities Director to advertise for qualifications and enter into a contract or contracts for engineering services for final clarifiers at the Water Pollution Control Facility.
Okay. I move that we adopt ordinance 9004.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Rabando,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Odericio.
Yes.
All right. Ordinance 9004 is adopted.
Ordinance number 9005 for third reading, ordinance authorizing the Utilities Director to execute a loan agreement with the Ohio EPA, Ohio Water Development Authority for a water pollution control loan fund loan for design and engineering services for final clarifiers at the Water Pollution Control Facility.
All right. I move that we adopt ordinance 9005.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay.
Robinette,
Yes.
Rabando,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Odericio,
Yes.
Phipps.
Yes.
All right. Ordinance 9005 is adopted.
Ordinance number 9006 for third reading, ordinance authorizing the utilities director to advertise for qualifications and enter into a contract or contracts for engineering services for lighting improvements at Carter Park.
Right, I move that we adopt ordinance 9006.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold?
this is, of course, very good legislation that will contribute to the well-being of the city, but I feel compelled to speak now just because I have this desire to not have this meeting end because it's the ending of an era. So I'm just kind of pausing for a moment to let it all soak in.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay.
The final words.
Rubando,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbach,
Yes.
Odericio,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette.
Yes.
Okay, so ordinance 9006 is adopted, and Brian Kraft is not the only person that is retiring. Some of you may or may not know that this is Kay's last meeting as clerk for Bowling Green City Council. Naturally, you'll be more suitably recognized at a later date, but I wanted to say how much I've appreciated working with you. And what a great job you have done making me not look stupid. So, if at future meetings I commit more errors than usual, we know who to blame. But no, I mean, nearly 33 years, thousands of pieces of legislation have literally gone through your hands. And so, I just wanted to publicly thank you for all you've done and to open it up if anyone else would like to say something.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I thought about Kay's longtime faithful service throughout the decades. As someone who's seen her in action at council meetings for almost 20 of those third of a century years, either sitting in the front of the room or in the back, and a person that's actually seen 6 council clerks over the years. I don't think anyone else up here can remember any other council or clerk of council. I pondered how to express my deep appreciation for Kay. So I dug into my archives and dusted off my council notes from a council meeting way back on November 6th, 1989. Let me pause for a moment and let that sink in. 1989. Now, some of you can remember back that time.
Were you bored?
I was born.
Yeah. So that makes-
not though.
I was not born.
So the reason I chose November 6th, 1989, which incidentally, in case anyone's interested in trivia, back then we started the meetings at 8.
We did.
Oh.
And this particular meeting started at 8:25, which is actually surprising that you actually decided to stay after and ended at 10:11. Well, okay, so why this meeting? Toward the beginning, in my notes and in the minutes, Council Member Harold moved, Kepke seconded, and Joyce was here earlier tonight, that Mrs. Kay Sherrick be sworn in as the new clerk of council. On unanimous voice vote, of course, Kay, you were doing the minutes. President Quinn declared motion carried. And I'm thinking, earlier today, I was thinking, I actually was at your first meeting and your last meeting, assuming we don't have a special meeting between now and the.
We may, I'm thinking about it.
And then City Attorney Michael Marsh swore in Kay Sherrick as the new clerk of council. And Joyce Kepke, John Quinn, and I were on the committee that chose chose Kay. So that's, if anyone ever wants to know if I did anything right. So anyway, I wanted to, I'm going to give this to you whether you like it or not.
Okay.
Because that way you can look at it from time to time and say, gosh, Bill was cheap. And also think back on the many years. But at the risk of overemphasizing the approximate third of a century that elapsed, this meeting referenced Ordinance 5097, which is interestingly financing the softball fields for Carter Park. And tonight we voted on Ordinance 9006, financing replacement lighting for Carter Park. So you've outlasted the first iteration of Carter Park.
You're starting to make me feel old.
I'm right there with you. And and Mark referenced this, Kay has overseen, if you take the two ordinance numbers and subtract them, over 3,900 ordinances. You do the same thing for resolutions, over 1,100 resolutions. That's over 5,000 pieces of legislation. And if you're keeping count, I'm sure, Kay, you have the exact count on the number of council meetings you've been to, but it's around 750. Now, picture you're sitting through this meeting and multiply it times 750. And now you know what kind of a saint Kay is.
You should be nominated for sainthood.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And just videotape of one council meeting will prove it. So, Kay, well done, good and faithful clerk. You've been the steady hand that has provided the structure for us to operate. Your kind but firm character has fit perfectly over the decades. I thank you for your service and friendship. We have had many very good clerks over the years, but I can say that you surpassed them all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes. go
I'd
ahead.
like to just briefly add, to when my first term 11 years ago, I had the pleasure of sitting way down at the other end. And I want to thank Kay because I had the advantage of her being able to whisper at me and correct me and help me without anybody else knowing what was going on.
It's a good seat.
And it's a great seat. Take advantage of it. And I thank you for that. You taught me a lot and I appreciate your lengthy service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for, letting me be the clerk of council for this many years. I've enjoyed my job. It's hard to leave, but it's time, and it's time to move on to the next step of my life, which is I'm going to get to be a grandma. And so I'm excited about that part, but it's sad to leave you all, but we'll get somebody good.
Mr. Mayor, as a longtime president of City Council, would you like to say some things?
I do, and I think there's others in the room that want to say a few words also. Okay, I just want to say thank you. I mean, I can't really begin to top what Bill said in terms of research and statistics and that sort of thing. We come to expect that from Bill. I simply want to say thank you. As a ex-council member, ex-council president, I can attest to the fact that you make all of us look good. You make all of us, you keep all of us in line. You help all of us understand proper protocol and make certain that things are being done properly and timely. And most importantly, you're so dedicated. So I really appreciate your service. I appreciate your friendship. And I'm so grateful for your service. And I want to wish you the best. You're going to be every bit as good of a grandmother as you were as a clerk of council. So enjoy that. And it's going to be the best. You're going to love it. Thank you, Kay. We appreciate you very much.
Okay.
We going to do as good as we did Thursday?
Yeah, we had a little bit of trouble with the last council packet. We've been putting together council packets together for 25 years. And that was when it hit me, was the last letter that I signed. That's when I kind of lost it. So I'm going to do better than Thursday. All right.
Okay.
We're going to try. I want to echo the words of everyone here thanking you. And I also want to provide council with another perspective about Kay's tremendous work here at the City of Bowling Green. What you see every Monday night, or, that you're here and all the meetings is a well-oiled machine, right? Things are prepared, they are right, they are done, they are laying in front of you. Everything runs down here. You get everything on time. And a lot of the reason for that is because of the work that Kay does behind the scenes. That every week she is here getting work done to prepare to make all of you look good. But over the years, Kay's duties that you would have hired her for, Bill, as a clerk of council were expanded. And Kay willingly took on roles in the city administration, also working for the municipal administrator's office, particularly with contracts, but also with other projects along the way that we have done. And if we looked back on 30 some years, there would be a lot of things on that list. Kay is somebody who is well respected among our staff. She is somebody who everyone wants to be friends with, to confide in, because she is the helpful kind of person that you just love as a colleague. You can all picture a workplace where you just have that person who is just positive and there and supportive, gets the job done, but does it really well. When Kay took on an increasing role with, preparing things for our office, she did so with a professionalism, with a finesse, with a quality that you see and will be the legacy. I'm sorry to keep using that word tonight, but we're retiring some really longtime people here. That will be a legacy. These, the ordinances, the record, the write-ups, all of this is part of our shared history here of Bowling Green, what we put on there. And Kay was the engine behind the machine to keep that going and keep it professional. It's really hard to watch this much experience go. It's really, really hard. But we do so with hearts of gratitude, with sincere thank you, and with joy for what lies ahead for you. Job well done, and thank you for everything. And you will certainly be missed, but your impact will remain here. So thanks, Kay.
Thank you, Lori.
You said you didn't have a report.
Bill, the number is 768.
There we go.
I looked into it today, and 751 of those, I said no report. I was trying to help her.
And I
'Cause I knew she'd
appreciated it.
prepare the minutes. Yeah, so just use the ditto mark on her paper for March. Yeah. We all look better because of you, Kay, and not the least of which is me, because my name's on all those ordinances. They come through here. I usually take first run at writing them, but then it goes to Kay. And I'll show up here at the meeting sometimes and look at them and think, boy, she totally rewrote that one. Am I right?
Well,
The city attorney can't spell. She took care of that. It's confession time here, but I was born in '89. It's true. I swore in, and I was not 10 years old when I did that. So we've been around here for a while, but I appreciate everything you've done. We work almost every day together to prepare all these things, and Kay really made it easy. Going to be missed. In my 44 years of doing municipal law, there was a time where I represented 14 towns and cities all at the same time. I've probably seen 50 or 75 clerks of council. I don't know. This is the gold standard right here, without a doubt. And I've been saying that for a long time, but definitely true. But the best job is ahead of you, because as you know, I've got a bunch of grandchildren, and that's a better job. So congratulations to you, and
thank
thanks.
you. Thank you very much.
All right.
I think, Mr. President, we've been remiss. We've also got to recognize the support of her husband, Dave. He needs some thanks too. Seriously.
Well, his,
Yeah, every other Monday night when he's had to fix his own dinner.
yeah, well, and now you're going to get to organize him
Yeah.
because you'll be spending less time organizing us.
That's right.
Our loss is your gain, sir. Anything else? Kay, do you want to tell us where we can put things?
That's a loaded question, Mr. President.
Well, I mean,
You open the door too wide.
we have an audience, so. Okay. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, any other business to come before council this evening? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. We are adjourned. Hey, you're done.
Wow.
Except for the party.
Yeah. Well, now I still have a few more days of work too.
Last meeting, not last day of work.
I get to do these minutes.